What's up, Red Bull fans? Today is something new on the channel, and I got to sit down with Red Bull 2 midfielder Dylan Sullivan. I wanted to get more involved in, sitting down with the players. So this is the first episode, we'll say, of those sit downs. I'm going to be trying to sit down with more Red Bull 2 players, some of the first team players as well, to get them know them a bit more. Dylan Sullivan is stepbrothers with former Red Bull legend Tyler Adams. He's a 2021 national title winner at Clemson University, and this is his third year under Ibrahim Sekagya at New York Red Bulls too. So thanks for clicking on the video, and hope you enjoy this content. Well, today on the pod is my guest, Dylan Sullivan. Dylan, how you doing today, brother?
Good, man. Doing well. Doing well.
I kind of just want to, let's play a game to kind of get people to understand and kind of know you a bit. So,
Okay.
where are you from, and how did you kind of get into the game?
Yeah, so I'm from Wappinger Falls, New York. It's about an hour and a half north of the facility here. Uh, Started playing soccer 4 years old. My dad really introduced me to it, and then I just kept playing until around U13. Was able to make a jump to Red Bull Academy. Played there for 5 years. Went to college. Went to Clemson for 3.5 years, and I've been back here at Red Bull 2 ever since. Now my third year. So been a journey, but it's been a good journey for sure.
Hey, man, journey's not done yet. So, what's your favorite non-soccer sports team?
Non-soccer sports team?
Yeah.
Ooh. I'm probably gonna go with the New York Giants for sure.
Hey, I respect it. I respect it.
Yeah,
Me
man.
too.
Growing up, won 2 Super Bowls. It was a great experience.
Yeah, we've had to go down a bit, but
Yeah, we've gone down a lot, but
there's only one way to go, so it's
that's what
up
they
from
say,
here.
man.
So,
That's what they say.
most recent movie or TV show you watched?
Okay, I'll do both. Movie, I saw the new Captain America.
Okay.
Uh, big Marvel guy growing up as well.
Yep.
And then I guess the last show I've watched was The Recruit on Netflix.
Okay. If you had to give a rating to Captain America, what would you give?
7.
7?
Going
Okay.
with 7.
That's
It
solid.
got, it got a lot of hate, but I enjoyed it.
I think that's where I was at. I was kind of like a 6.5, 7 range. It was what you
It was a
kind of
solid movie, man.
expected. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
solid. Um, I kind of found this question from the NHL Combine last year because a bunch of GMs would ask players this. But what's your spirit animal?
Man, I guess I don't know about spirit animal, but my favorite animal that I like the most is probably like the orca, the killer whale.
Okay.
I remember I did like a science project on the orca back in elementary school too. Favorite animal that is so smart, like hunting packs. Like I don't know, I love the orca.
Yeah, it came up like on social media because one of the prospects, Tija Ginla, was asked, "What's your spirit animal?" and he said a Pegasus, and that I just found that fascinating.
That is fascinating.
That was his answer because that's a sick answer. So,
Vegas. Wow. Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean that just caught me off guard. So I was like, "Wow, that's a great answer."
Yeah.
Um, what's your if you had to have one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
The cheeseburger. Like I love cheeseburgers.
What
That was
what's
my
on
favorite.
what's on your burger?
I'm really simple.
Okay.
Just I like a double patty though. Double patty,
Yep.
American cheese, and just ketchup and pickles.
All right. Yeah,
That's all
that
I need.
just like me.
That's all I
I
need.
actually just have mine plain, so cheese and ketchup. That's it. But double patty as well.
Yeah, double patty is different.
Simple men. That's all we are.
That's it, man. That's it.
And then lastly, what's your favorite color?
Blue.
Blue. Okay.
Blue. Yeah.
Not the best color to be where you are, but blue's
Well,
blue.
like a dark blue, not a light blue. A
Okay.
dark blue.
Dark blue. That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into your life a bit. Obviously you said you grew up in upstate New York, or I don't really like to call it upstate New York.
Upstate, man. Upstate.
Yeah, 'cause I live in
Yeah.
Rockland, so I get that all the time.
That's definitely not upstate.
Yeah,
My bad.
so it is what it is. But you grew up with Tyler Adams as your stepbrother. I mean, kind of just talk about your relationship with him and how you've kind of molded into the person and player you are now.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I met Tyler when I was in 5th grade, and we became a family from then. Um, Brothers right from then. It was a great connection. And, yeah, he's taught me so much, in the game, but more so, off the field because he's such a great leader. He's such a great older brother for me, such a great role model. And, of course, we're different people. We do have similar characteristics to our game and similar characteristics to ourselves off the field as well. But he's really taught me a lot uh, in life, from a mental standpoint, facing adversity because he's faced so much adversity in his life. So it's always been great just to see that, and honestly, in a front row seat,
Mm.
just to apply it to my life and better myself. So I can't think of a better role model than him. So it's been fantastic to grow up with him.
And you talk about him being a role model, and he's also been giving back to the community as well. Made a donation to Pace University. He's invested in clubs locally like Hudson Valley Hammers. Westchester this year. Just talk about him. Getting involved in the community and giving back to the game around here.
Yeah, I mean, again, ever since I met him, he's always had a passion, for helping others. Obviously that included myself and my other brothers, helping them too. Um, and that's just not changed. The success he's had, he's always kept to himself, kept his morals, everything about him since he was born, essentially, I feel like. So just to see that, a person staying true and grounded to themselves
Mhm.
is amazing. And he's going to continue to do amazing things off the field as well. I know that for sure.
And then, we'll stay in the family. Obviously, your dad's been a big influencer. He coached you growing up, right? You said that,
Yeah,
right?
he coached me. He's still coaching me,
Yeah,
man. I
yeah,
always, I
yeah.
always break down some film with him. So
I think he's coach of Hudson Valley, right?
yeah, he's like in like a director position
Okay.
with Hudson Valley now. Yeah.
But just talk about that relationship growing up. I mean, obviously, I had a good dad, motivating me growing up, but your dad was your coach. Just talk about that kind of relationship and how he helped you in that position as a youth.
Yeah, I mean, my dad has helped me out tremendously in so many realms of life. Um, I'd say, he's coached me since I was 4 or 5 years old.
Mm.
And, the values and stuff he's instilled with me are still within me today. He always wanted to make me, be one of the hardest working on the team. And I always try to achieve that. Um, uh, and as I got older, just becoming more of a man and really grooming me into being a man was so important for me. So he's coached me in soccer, but he's also coached me in life fantastically. And I'm just so grateful to have that amazing father figure uh, in my life. So it's just been great, and I know for as long as we can, he'll always continue to coach me in those areas. So
Yeah.
I love it.
All right, so then eventually you make your way to the Red Bull Academy. Just talk about how you kind of were first discovered by Red Bull and what that first interaction was with whoever kind of invited you or extended out the offer.
Yeah, we're going way back now for me. I'm trying to think. Um, yeah, I did like the training programs growing up. And I was
Mm,
like 10 years old, and
yeah.
those are always spread out. They do a great job of that. Um, and then kind of going to the RDS, which was so important for me. Well, the crazy part I always, look at, geography wise with the area is like we have a lot of great players in the Hudson Valley area
Yeah.
and upstate.
Yeah.
Um, but my first experience coming down here in New Jersey, like, I was always an athletic player, this and that, but the technical ability players had here and around the city area, New Jersey, was a different level. And that was
Mm,
something I really had to adjust my game to, uh, to meet that requirement of the level. So the training programs in RDS, they really helped me out in that piece of things. So once I was able to kind of develop that, I was able to make the jump to Red Bull Academy, just try it out, U13 starting off. And I had enough tools then to make that jump. So, yeah.
and how many years were you in the academy for?
About 5 years. Yeah,
Okay.
5 years. U13,
Yeah.
U19.
I've always said, the New York metro area, which is, North Jersey, New York, the suburbs, or, the outside area, Connecticut, we got some of the best players in the country. So,
Yes.
you talked about the level difference when you go in different regions. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But you talked about going to college. Let's talk about that. Obviously, different paths for players. Some players go pro, some players go the college route to get an education. Just talk about the recruiting process, and talk about what your final 3 or 5 teams were that you were picking from.
Yeah, the recruiting process is fun, of course.
Yeah.
I remember with Clemson, for example, uh, GA Cup was a really big thing for me to
Mhm.
get recruited from. There's so many college coaches there, so many scouts, whatever. Um, and I performed well there. It was my first time playing in the center mid role also that
Mhm.
time. So they saw me there in a center mid role where I can, develop more in my game. Um, and yeah, when it came down to decision, it was uh, Clemson, and it was early, I guess, for it was in early my junior year
Okay.
of high school. Clemson and Villanova and Marist College
Yep.
up by me.
Yep.
Those were the 3 at the time, and, after I went on one visit to Clemson, it was really hard to say no to all the things they offered, and, uh, yeah, it was great to go there, 3.5 years.
I mean, just talk about the college life. Obviously, down in Clemson, I mean, you have, a great campus experience. You have, football. You have all those big time D1 sports that you can go to aside from, your game soccer. Just talk about, those 3.5 years and how it kind of, helped you grow as a person.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a culture shock, you're down south now.
Yeah.
Always been a Northeast guy. I'm still a Northeast guy. I
Yeah.
still was a Northeast guy when I was down there, but, um, yeah, it was culture shock. He's a little slower paced, and of course, you got to see other high level sports perform, football, basketball. I mean, they have a great basketball team this year, Clemson. So it was great to be around other, high performing athletes. To see them come in as a freshman was great. And of course, we had a great soccer team. Well, I think one
Yep.
of the best, probably the best in the last 5 years Clemson has been
Yep.
soccer program wise. So coming into that though, freshman year, there was a lot of adversity to face because I mean, first time on my own, like for an
Yep.
extended period of time, always
Mhm.
tough for any college player, college student.
Yep.
So had to readjust to those, and the standard at Clemson was so high. I wouldn't say I was fully ready for it, but that takes time to adjust, and it took me some time to adjust to that level. Um, and yeah, that place also really molded me to become a great man. That I try to be a great man, of course, but um, tough moments, uh, but a great team and great moments as well. Winning a national championship, winning titles. You know, once you start to get those great accomplishments of winning,
Yeah.
it kind of becomes addicting, and that's where I really was feeling that sense of winning with a team and all the ins and outs and what it takes to win championships. So yeah, I'm just trying to translate that for as long as I'm playing my playing career now from there. So
You talk about the national title, talk about that 2021 season. What made that team special to, go on and lift a national title?
yeah, I mean that 2021 team. I mean, and teams prior was just a loaded team, but it takes more than just talent to win championships. I remember that 2021 team, like the camaraderie uh, from any role within the team was just top. It was just top. There's a lot of core values at Clemson that they set, uh, and all of us as players, we do our best job to follow those. And I think we all just had a great connectivity, great
Mhm.
camaraderie, like I mentioned, to go one game at a time, and it translated to a title. It was a very process based program. You
Mhm.
focus on the little things, you can get a great outcome for it. That's what we did in 2021.
And then obviously, since you're at Clemson, obviously it's a tough, rigorous program in the soccer program, but also in the classroom. Just talk about, balancing that. And what did you major in school?
Yeah, I majored in sports communication,
Okay.
minor in psychology, but
Gotcha.
um, yeah, uh, it was definitely very rigorous. I would say for me, I'm a decent student, but yeah, you kind of just have to develop your time management.
Yeah.
That's what I had to do. I kind of learned that probably after my freshman year, but yeah, we have training in the morning. That was the first focus, and then yeah, class. I just wanted to focus on getting my stuff done as best as possible.
Mhm.
But no, it was definitely tough to balance, but you got to find a way, and I found a way. So
And then lastly, before we move to your pro career, just was there any like one lasting memory from any game in college that like sticks out in your mind?
yeah, I mean, there's two. One, of course, is the national championship and the feeling you get from winning something like that. It's so hard to replicate that feeling to win a championship.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's so addicting that feeling. You just want to have it again.
Mhm.
Um, and then probably honestly, our last game of the season, like of my career, there is always sticking out. We lost to UCLA in the NCAA tournament, and
Mhm.
yeah, that always sits with me too. Just that was my last moment on Riggs Field, and yeah, but it's a powerful memory to have within me, even though we lost. But yeah, I'll
Yeah,
say those
you
two.
yeah, you always gotta, always remember the highs, but always remember the lows, because
Yes,
those lows will always motivate you to get back to those heights that you've reached. So
of
that
course.
that that's an interesting memory that you bring up.
Yeah.
So obviously, right after that senior season, you turned pro. You signed with Red Bull 2 in that 2023 preseason. Just talk about, those conversations you had with the front office about coming back to Red Bull and signing with the second team.
Yeah, I remember again coming out of college, and any college student that graduates, you're faced with the real world's coming,
Yeah.
and I knew I wanted to still play soccer, and I would of course would love to come back to Red Bull, which I did, but that process from, let's say, when I graduated in December 22nd, um, I would reach out to Red Bull, and I mean they hadn't seen me in 3.5 years, so it had been a long time. So I remember they had to come and see me. I had a trial. I had to go,
Yep.
retrial Red Bull 2. Did the preseason. I did well. But yeah, I'd say like that moment from December to January up until the preseason in February was definitely a really tough moment for me to. I honestly trained the hardest I ever did in my life to try to make this jump. A lot of things leaving college, emotional things leaving college, like ready to face, the real world, ready to face, you know, my career on, and um, yeah, I dug really deep for that. Now I'm going on my third year here. It's crazy to think back and look back in December 2022 and January 2023. You know, all that I did mentally and physically to get ready for this. So, yeah.
When you're in college as an academy player, it was like Red Bull ever like reaching out to you, like keeping tabs with you and with your game, or were you just, no communication at all?
So can you repeat that actually?
So when you're at college, right?
Okay.
Was Red Bull ever like kind of monitoring your game at all, kind of trying to give you tidbits here and there, or anything like that, or was it just like no communication at all?
I'd say there was very, very limited communication.
Okay.
I think Red Bull and the scouting department does a great job in keeping tabs on so many players,
Okay. Yeah.
keeping tabs on other players in different colleges, different teams that are from the academy because there's
Hmm.
so many talent that comes out of this academy.
Yep.
But yeah, when I was in Clemson, I was a Clemson player.
Yeah.
So that was my main focus during that time period. But Red Bull was always in the back of my head, and yeah,
All right, so obviously the first season you're here, you guys make the playoffs.
yes,
You had a good season overall. Coming into your second season, you kind of take a step back and you don't make the playoffs. Offensively, you guys were really good. You were one of the top teams in MLS Next Pro. Defensively, unfortunately, you guys were one of the worst
yeah,
goals against. Just talk about what kind of happened in between those two seasons where you see that drop off defensively.
yeah. I mean, 2023 it was a great year.
Mhm.
Talk about the highs and lows. That was a great high.
Yeah.
20 and then 2024 was more of a low point. I think like you mentioned, we were probably one of the worst teams defensively, maybe third or something. I
Yeah.
forgot the stat. It's been a while since I looked at it, but yeah, you come in though, you have to readjust to different, formations, this and that, readjust to different styles, and that's okay. Um, so I say that's probably one of the reasons why our defensive attributes to our game wasn't the best as it was in 2023. But I think honestly, looking back now, this is my third year, and a lot of the guys did both those years like myself, 2023, 2024. I think this year, we experienced those highs, we experienced those lows. We know what it takes to win. We know what happens when you don't do the right things and you lose. So I think that's all going to culminate and come together for this 2025 season. And throughout that season, I think we'll have a good, tools in our toolbox to not let those highs get too high, not get those lows get too low, and stay a steady pace and have some success this year.
Last year you obviously had a bunch of new players join the team from that 2023 season. There was a lot of turmoil. What could you like maybe attribute that to your defensive woes to maybe having so many new defensive players behind you?
Yeah, I mean, and all the players that we get in are great quality
Mm,
players. Like I said, the scouting department does great getting these guys in. But the Red Bull system is different from a lot of teams, in the world, in the way they play. So it takes time to adjust to that. It takes time to know those things. And like for example, I mean, I think Jair at the Atlanta game,
mm.
he had a great game, and he's developed so much in this Red Bull system. He's doing a great job. And he came in 2024, and now it's his second season. So just for him, for example, like he's been doing great in training, great in the game over the weekend. So yeah, the guys are developing and things are headed in the right direction. I really truly feel that way.
You obviously have a lot of players from South America and Central America that speak Spanish. Just is it difficult sometimes to communicate with the two, or how's your Spanish?
Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy. I wish I was better at Spanish. I took Spanish for like so many years in high school and for sports comm in college. I took it for like 2 years, but I'm decent,
Yeah.
and by decent I mean I can say only a couple things. Um, but no, I mean the game communicates with itself. Uh, playing the right foot. You communicate with the way you pass the ball. You communicate the
Mm.
way your mannerisms. Nonverbal cues. So I think not really a language standpoint, but just understanding other people as human beings and their mannerism, this and that. You can really start to understand your teammates and understand how they play the game. So I think that's also gotten a lot better for this 2025 season coming up. We know each other very well, even if we don't speak the same language.
Gotcha. And then obviously in net you have two teenagers this year, with Aiden and Toby. Just talk about that dynamic. Obviously those two guys are very young, very raw, but they have great potential going forward. How do you kind of try to ease them in or make their lives easier in front of them?
Yeah, I mean, of course, they're both super young, um, but they have a really good head on their shoulders, both of them. Um, they're always trying to get better. They're young. They still have a lot of will to win games and things like that, which is great to see. And you mentioned easing in, but I think Red Bull and the way they've done things with the academy, second team, and really keeping this together. People have seen, you know, first team trainings. They've been in first team trainings. They see how these guys carry themselves. They see, what it takes to win games, what it takes to win in life. So these guys know, what it takes. They're really not be eased in because I mean they've been eased in since they've been in the academy because be able to
Yeah.
see all these things. So yeah, they're ready for the MLS Next Pro. I really truly feel that way, and they're doing a great job.
All right, so on to 2025 now. You know, last year you had a bunch of new players. This year, you're retaining most of your team. You're adding just a couple pieces here and there. Just talk about how, you kind of talked about it a bit. Just talk about the chemistry getting better and how you think that could, help you guys going forward and making that playoff run again.
Yeah, I mean, like I said before, I've been around some of these guys. Been there. They're also this is their third year, maybe some
Hmm.
fourth years too. Thinking on the top of my head now, but we know those highs, we know those lows, and we've done it together. That's a big thing. We've done those things together. We've experienced those experiences in the locker room, good times, bad times. We've experienced good times, bad times on the field as well. Um, so I really think, from a mentality standpoint, a lot of these guys, are ready for some success this year. Of course, playoffs is a goal, um, but again, we're gonna stay process based as well with what we do every training session. Cleaning the locker rooms after games, make sure
Yep.
that's spotless. Just having just being top in as many realms of this soccer journey as we can.
Talk about Ibrahim Sekagya. Obviously, a legend in the club. Red Bull. He's been all over. A great defender in his own right. Talk
Yeah.
about him as a coach and the rest of the staff. Brad and the rest of them. Just talk about how they've kind of helped you develop your game as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the best staffs I've worked with, to be honest. There's a great balance in different areas on the field. Um, but starting off with Coach Ibra, I mean, his playing experience is top. Um, and he's been at this red in the Red Bull system for
Yeah.
a long time, very
Yeah.
long, longer than some of our players have probably been alive. It's
Yeah.
crazy. So he's been within this. He's a phenomenal head coach, um, and he believes in his players. That's such a big thing for me, especially with a lot of these players in their age. Like instilling belief within them, so they can instill belief within themselves is massive. And Coach Ebert does a great job, and with Guti and Brad as well. Guti is one of the most high energy persons I've ever come across. He's definitely probably top 1% in the world with energy. We were coming on a flight. It was like 3 a.m. or something, and he's still talking to me with such high energy. I'm like, what the heck, man? So his energy he brings to the coaching staff and to the team is phenomenal as well. And then Brad, you talk about playing experience. Coach Brad, uh, legend for the club first and foremost. Um, but you can tell even when he jumps in a session with us to just do little things like he's class, man. He's class, and he knows the game so well. I've learned so much from him just in those little conversations in between, drills or reps in a training field and in games, halftime talks. Like the things he says, it wouldn't even cross my mind, and then it's instilled in my mind, and it's great, man. So it's a great coaching staff.
Obviously, you're one of the veterans on this team. You're one of the, I believe, are you the oldest guy on the team right now?
Yeah, I think me and Aiden O'Connor
Yeah, I
is the
mean,
ones.
two college guys right there.
Yeah,
Just talk about having that experience, being a veteran on this team with young guys like Aiden, like Tanner, just trying to be a leader and being versatile as well. Because obviously you play in the center, but also sometimes Ibra's asking you to play right back or you know playing right wing. Like sometimes you're all over the pitch. Just talk about your veteran leadership and your versatility.
yeah, I mean, of course, I've gotten older, and I've always tried to grow into leadership roles. I've grown into some of it last year. I felt. Um, And just being a great teammate and leading by example is so important to me. I like to keep my locker clean, certain things like that, how I carry
Mhm.
myself. I'm always aware of that because I know people are watching, my teammates that are younger, about to go through, stages in their life that I went through years ago.
Yeah.
So that's super important to me. Uh, I I really value that a lot. So that's something I'm still gonna keep trying to do and grow and develop with this year as well. Um, but yeah, and that doesn't matter if I'm playing right back or right 10 or six center defensive mid. I just want to approach the game with the same mentality. Uh, Even if I'm on the bench as well, approach the game with the same mentality,
Mhm.
uh, so others can see that. That's super important to me. So I'm gonna try to keep doing that.
I will try to wrap this up in a couple more questions, but first game down in Atlanta, it looked like you guys were playing three at the back. What you guys were playing three at the back?
Yeah, we were.
Okay, just talk about the difference between playing three at the back and a normal 4-2-2. Obviously, we saw what the first team did last year in the playoffs with that run. Looked a bit more defensively sound. What are the big differences there, and what do you like playing in, or what do you like, doing playing in that three at the back?
Yeah, I do like the three in the back system. Obviously, saw a lot of success with the first team in this playoff run to MLS Cup when it was kind of really, introduced to our system here.
Yeah.
But no, the personnel we have in the three in the back is great. I mean, we saw in the Atlanta game, the three we had, like they defended our box so well. They're all
Mhm.
good in there. Jair, Aiden, Juan, and then the other center backs we have are also great in that game that weren't in that three. Davi and we just a new player, Kayo, like he's very good in the air as well. So those guys, you feel safe around them. We gave up 11 corners that game, but we defended and almost got first contact on every single one. Any crosses or set pieces that came in, they almost got first contact on it every time. We defended our box so well. So that three in the back system really gives you confidence as a six for me behind me that there's a lot of cover. So uh, yeah, I'd say I like the system.
Does it, you kind of said you feel safe behind you. Does it give you a bit more freedom to go up and join the attack a bit more, or what's the, balance in that system for you?
Yeah, I think I'm also more figuring that out for myself. As that was our first game, like real game playing that system. So yeah, I gotta still evaluate. You know, if I have more freedom to go forward as a six with that three in the back with the two wing backs on the side. So yeah, again, it's gonna take time though to see, but it was a good defensive performance versus Atlanta. Clean sheet. So we'll keep working at it and we'll see what we can do with it.
Let's talk about your position group. Obviously, Steven Serwata, a former first team player, had a major injury and,
Yeah.
kind of found himself again last season coming back to Red Bull 2. Talk about his game. I mean, he's still a young guy and potentially could make that jump back to the
Yeah.
first team in the future. Just talk about what you've seen from him and his kind of, comeback from that injury.
Yeah, first his comeback from the injury because I was here for it, and that's the first time I met Stevie as well though. But it's definitely been an inspiring thing to see, and I think it's been an inspiring thing to see for a lot of guys, younger guys. And he's great to play with, in that middle. He does a lot of work. He covers a lot of ground as well, and he's great on the ball. He's a threat going forward, so he's a really all around, great midfielder. So it's great playing next to him. And same with any of our guys that we have. Aiden Jarvis, great on the ball, can do some great things. It's great playing alongside him, and same thing with Audrey as well. Uh, these guys are all, I honestly think, really top level center mids, and they show whenever they play. So we have a really good core of sixes, center mids, and I think we're all going to keep making each other better.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to touch on Aiden and Audrey just a bit. Obviously you guys have four, starting quality center mids. There's only two spots. Kind of talk about that competition and training and how that kind of can make you guys better throughout the season and push you guys towards that playoff run and hopefully lifting MLS Next Cup or Pro Cup.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like you said, all great center mids, and yeah, we train hard against each other and we support each other when we're playing alongside. We support each other. Halftime talks, like what we see, because we all see the game differently, but we see it a lot similarly as well. But competition is great for a team in that position. We're competing for those spots all the time. Um, it's only going to make us better, make the team better. And you need that type of competition in all areas in the field uh, to push each other to become better, to produce results. So, yeah, it's very important, and it's great to have a good core of those guys.
And just two more for me. You know, what would the all right, what are going to be the three main keys for this Red Bull team to make the playoffs again? If in your mind, what are the three keys that need to happen for you guys to make that run again?
Good question, man. I'd say, to put it simple, honestly. I think we have 11 leaders on the field. I think we can win. We can win. I think, like you said, I'm a veteran growing, but these guys are growing too.
Mm.
You know, and I hope they can grow into leadership positions themselves. It's so important to a team. And it doesn't have to be a team captain. It doesn't have to be that, but just leading in so many different ways, we can have success in that. And I'd say also communication. Like you said, there's language barriers in the team, but football speaks for itself a lot of the times. Um, and just going over this last game, we won, tough game, but every set piece, every single guy was talking, communicating, locked in with that, and that creates successful moments. And then I would just say the last one was probably having quality chances in the final third. I think we have a new formation we might use a lot this year. So how can we create some attacking variations, attacking moments within this new formation? If we get those three things honed out, I think we'd have a lot of success.
All right, and then I'll say again, two questions, just quick ones. But
Yeah, all good.
who's one guy on the team that fans should look out for? Who's like a dark horse to be a really good contributor this year for the team?
Yeah, I'd say Andy Rojas.
Hmm.
I think some players you can just tell from the first moment step on the field with them that they have a lot of quality to them. And I saw that a lot with Andy, our first training session together this preseason. He has a lot of quality to his game. And I think, again, I don't know the language, but
Yeah.
some things you can tell. He has really good head on his shoulders as well. So I think he's uh he's fated for some success with us here at Red Bull. And yeah, I'm just excited to keep watching him play.
And then lastly for me, obviously, the team goal is to get to the final and win some silverware. But for you personally, what are some personal goals that, you'll be able to share to us and kind of, lay out for us today?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm a very process based person. I think goals I have for myself is I want to come in every single day uh, with a lot of high energy, a great mentality, and do my best every single day. I think sometimes for me, in other areas of life, when I look at tangible goals like real things, like yes, those are in my head, but my main focus is just like those little things, winning the day in my life to hopefully stack those up to then lead to other goals that I have in the back of my mind. So that's how I focus and approach things like that.
Well, Dylan, I appreciate the time. But I'll let you get the training now. Obviously, you got a good week ahead of you for game two. So everybody, this was Dylan Sullivan, former Red Bull Academy guy, national champion at Clemson University, and now, Red Bull 2 midfielder. So thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, Dan. It's been great. Been
Thank
great,
you.
man. Yep.